sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.
It's Monday, the 9th of February, 2026, and you're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. It's now 2 minutes past 10 o'clock. We promised you Lare Sise of the United Democratic Party from 10 o'clock. Sorry about the 2 minutes lateness. But he's with me now in the studio to look at some trending issues. Just some, because there are so many trending issues, it's impossible to deal with all of them in one program, from the Sepra's opinion poll to the prospects of an opposition coalition. What about election integrity as we amble towards December the 5th? And what about the unrelenting cost of living challenge? Well, Larry is back with us. Good morning, Larry. Good to see you.
Good morning, Peter. Good to be back.
Fantastic.
Good morning to your listeners.
Lots and lots of things to talk about. We might even do more than 1 hour. We could be here for at least 2 hours.
I'm free.
You are free?
Yes.
This is home for me.
Well, yes. In that case, it's up to you when we end.
Let's start with the Sepra's poll, because it's been given all sorts of different interpretations. Those in the ruling coalition see it as positive. Analysts see it as, kind of negative, for the opposition. And the opposition has its own interpretation. Let's start there. You're part of the opposition. As a UDP politician, how did you receive the Sepra's poll?
Thank you, Peter. Opinion polls, I have always treated them as key indicators of what is likely going to happen, especially when you craft your questions in such a way that you have perceptions and the reality is juxtaposed to those perceptions. This poll, they did very well in crafting it, in that there is something in it for everybody, depending on how you want to interpret the results. What I find interesting is the government had to respond to the issues that were raised. For me, that's an eye-opener.
That's unusual.
It's unusual, okay. And it's like.
And does it suggest nervousness on their side?
I think it suggests that it's a wake-up call. Whether they are nervous or not is something else, but the poll numbers show.
But it cannot be comfortable on their side.
No, if I was the incumbent, I'll be very worried about these findings, and I'll be very worried because the key indicators in the poll are all negative.
Oh.
Democracy, it's negative. The number of people who say the country is not doing well under this president, the third term issue, and also the the job creation issue. Those are all on the negative. The democracy issue, the economy, job creation, election integrity. People don't have a whole lot of confidence in the IEC. But what I find interesting is for them to itemize a response to those things, and I think it's a good thing they've done that. Because it basically shows this is not something they anticipate. And the swiftness with which they responded also indicates that Gambians are aware of what is going on in their country. And to a certain extent, yes, it's a poll, but it's also an indication of where Gambians' mindsets are in terms of where the country is. And just this morning I was getting ready to come here and I was looking at a program where one of the guys who put together the poll was explaining certain aspects of the poll. And I think you look at the comment section, people are saying, oh, okay, this is why people are on UDP's case, because he explained that two types of questions were asked. If the elections were held today, who would you vote for if it is not the incumbent? The majority, he didn't quote the number, but the majority indicated they will vote for UDP. And then he says the perception side, basically they ask a question: if the elections were held today, who do you think is going to win? And the majority says the president. And that's where some of the detractors latched onto, if it was held today. But that is not equivalent to how are you going to vote
on election day.
On election day.
Some 9-10 months.
9-10 months down the
away.
line. So the perception and the reality are a bit different. But you have to give them credit. They try to explain those nuances. I would have liked them to just come out and say, this is what we asked about the incumbent, this is the result, this is what we asked about the others. And the others, it's vague. They listed several entities there, and the majority says, among others, it's UDP. So these polls, while they are important indicators of how people are thinking, the perception side is actually great. The other thing about the poll, if they have it, I don't see it. The margin of error. Their polling sample is small, and so therefore the margin of error is important. Whether it's plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, or even 7%, makes a difference in how you interpret the result. So margin of error, if it's there, I have not seen it.
Okay. Do you therefore see the polls then as a credible tool for gauging the sentiment of voters ahead of December 5th?
Peter, polls are not...
Or do they risk being dismissed as partisan even?
You can't dismiss it as partisan, but you cannot also give it a whole lot of credibility because of the subjective nature of the questions they are asking. Polls have a way of just putting a monkey wrench into the thinking of people, depending on how you ask and what you ask. And so therefore I won't dismiss it as irrelevant, but I am not also going to say with a whole lot of certainty that it is credible.
So what lessons should the opposition parties draw from these findings?
I think the three key lessons that I think we should look at. is that there is a yearning, there is a clamor for the opposition to come together and form a coalition of some sort. The second thing is that people interpreted that to mean no one party can win the election on their own. Now, for me, that too is subjective, because that presupposes that Gambians have not thought this thing through enough for them to pick somebody to win. If you can say Barrow and his coalition can win this election, why can't UDP win this election on its own? Or why can DOI not win this election on its own, or Sobea or some other entity?
It's based on the,
so,
how they performed in the last election.
Yeah, perhaps. Based on how you perform in the last election, if that is the case, then we shouldn't even be talking about this fractious debate on coalitions. If that is the key indicator, all over the world, smaller parties tend to coalesce around bigger parties. The narrative that is being pushed in this country, though, is that all parties are the same. No, there is no such thing as a big party or a small party. Now, for me, that's the legitimization of my party. We are everywhere in the country. We have structures. We have people who are contributing $5 a month to our treasury, and you negate all of that and say, you are not bigger than me, your reach is not more than me, and so therefore you don't have the prerogative to lead a potential coalition. I think that is devastatingly self-defeating. It is self-defeating because we are putting personal passion in front of an imperative. And the imperative is we need to come together. Everybody has recognized that. But when we come together, we need to be honest in our outlook. Those who say there are no big parties or small parties in this country, they are missing the point. You just mentioned the last election results. A lot of these parties are small in the sense that some in percentage terms, you cannot compare them to UDP. I'm sorry to say, in percentage terms.
Okay.
Now, if we put all of that aside and say the country is on the wrong track, as this poll is showing, then we need to put all of those things aside and decide what is best for the country. And what is best for the country is for the opposition to come together and coalesce around somebody and an entity, and we think that is UDP.
So where do you see the prospect of an opposition coalition right now?
I think, are we what?
Are the parties closer to unity or still divided by personal ambitions?
I think it's both. You know, in politics, we all have a right to have an ambition.
Of course.
The question is how you tame your ambition. Some of these ambitions have gone out of control in the sense that people want us to do the impossible. And that is, here is UDP, we are all over the country, we're a grassroots political party. Let's go into a coalition, into a convention-type coalition, and all of us are equal in terms of UDP brings in X number of delegates, you and your 1% bring in another, the same number of delegates in the convention. That has happened before. In the Ndam convention, the smaller ganged up and voted against the bigger party, and then used the bigger party structures to try to win the election. They forgot people are passionate about where they belong. Now, even though our party leaders stepped aside and let them have what they have
Was
crafted.
this the NAD arrangement?
Yes, that's the NAD arrangement he spoke about in our leadership convention. Now, that lesson taught us, don't go there. And this is why UDP's position has been very clear. We want a party-led coalition. What is interesting about that is that DOI has just announced its conditions for a coalition. Nobody is criticizing it.
Remind us of those coalitions, those who didn't listen, those who didn't hear the announcement.
No, I don't think they didn't hear. They heard.
What effectively is Doi saying?
Doi basically says they want a coalition where the president cannot appoint, can appoint a minister, but cannot fire a minister. When the minister is being fired, it goes to the National Assembly.
Oh, okay. Well, that is at governance level now. I mean,
that is at
you've
governance.
Won an election and you've got into office.
But it begs the question: where does that stand in terms of the constitutional powers of the president to appoint and fire? You need a constitutional amendment for that to happen. Do we have the opportunity to amend the constitution now for that to happen? No.
Because if they are sworn on that
yes,
on that constitution, and unless it is changed before the president has occasion to fire somebody,
yeah,
they have the authority to fire.
To fire. So that's their position. We are not criticizing them for that position. That's their position. We respect their position. What we have an issue with is when we announce our position, everybody ganged up on us. We are being attacked, we are being criticized for staking out a position. In all negotiations, Peter, if you don't have a clearly set positions for those involved in it, it doesn't go anywhere. So, Doi announces its conditions. Nobody criticizes. UDP announces its conditions, and everybody is on our case that we need to have a coalition that is not going to be led by Ousainou Darboe. This is where we have an issue. And it's not an issue by the party leadership per se. It's an issue with our grassroots. You see, people tend to forget that UDP is a grassroots organization. And recently I went to the few markets to check the prices that are being charged and stuff.
We'll come to cost of living.
No, but the point I'm making is, everywhere I go, oh, is this not Lare Sise? Yes. We listen to you guys. Don't let them lead our coalition. I have heard that even this morning, my phone is ringing off the hook, messages are coming in. People are advising me to emphasize that on this show. Okay. It's a grassroots movement.
And they believe only the UDP can tackle this cost of living challenge.
Yes. And the thing though is, with a grassroots movement, if the leadership goes left, there is a high on an issue that the grassroots do not accept, the grassroots will go right. And UDP is known for that. We have people in there with very clear minds as to what should happen.
Very clear and independent
mind, yeah. In spite of everything they say, we have that in our party. And people shouldn't negate that. Don't think that if you park Ousainou Darboe on the side, you put somebody else there, our grassroots will follow you lock, stock, and barrel. They will not. And I can guarantee you they're going to revolt, either not go to vote, which means the incumbent wins, or they just go and vote for somebody else.
Okay. And why do you think, people at the markets, I mean, the ones you visited, believe that only the UDP, a UDP-led government, can tackle the, cost of living challenge? Is it because of what people like yourself, the Lamin Manes and others say about, the cost of living, or, what is it? Is it what you're saying at, at your political platforms, what you're promising?
With the cost of living, you don't need a whole lot of propaganda. Your pocketbook speaks for you. You see, the market doesn't care whether I'm UDP or you are somebody else. What the market cares about is what is in your pocket. And the price is structured like that. When you go to buy, you don't buy as UDP or NPP. You buy a commodity which is priced. They are not saying only UDP can solve that problem. They are saying with what we see in UDP's intellectual makeup, this is the party that stands the biggest chance of effecting the changes that we want in our lifestyles. That is very different from saying only UDP can do this. They look at us. Somebody actually told me, I am supporting so-and-so. But honestly, if I have Hussein Udabo, I have Lare, Sise, I have Lamin Mane, and 3 other people in a government, I'll go to sleep soundly because I know the country will be in good hands.
Well, that can happen.
Well,
even if Barrow wins in 2026, if he decides to draft you into his government, Lamin Mane and Hussein Udabo?
Only when there is a credible anti-corruption system in place. I don't need to serve in any government. If for the sake of country, that happens, my primary condition would be taking care of all the corruption issues that we've been talking about in the last 4 or 5 years. And I have them listed here, not exhaustively.
Yeah.
But
we'll get to that.
But that would be one reason why I would not serve in his government. The stance on corruption, the impunity that goes around, and also the injection of money and ethnicity in our politics.
Oh.
Yes.
There's an injection of money and ethnicity in
our politics, yes.
Injection of money from where?
Don't sound very surprised.
I am surprised.
Don't sound very
ethnicity
surprised.
That I understand, but the injection of money bit is the one that...
money. How do you assess the president giving his NPP women $50 million?
Well...
How?
But my understanding of the 50 million is 25 will be provided by Salam Financial Services. The other 25.
Either way, it's an election. It's an election year.
Support from a businessman friend of the party.
You see how not transparent we are. Either way, it's an election year. If you put that kind of money in an election year, you are trying to create an impact.
Okay, so the timing is the problem.
The timing is the problem.
If this had happened 4 years ago...
And he's president of all the women of the Gambia. He shouldn't just give his NPP women 50 million. He should give all the other women 50 million. By the way,
But they're saying you people started at UDP. You had a scholarship for UDP, what? Is it
no,
UDP students or whatever?
It is wrong, Peter. That's a misrepresentation of that fact. Hussein went to Norway. He got some scholarships. It was announced on our platform that all Gambians are eligible to apply. All Gambians are eligible to apply. And we named the source of those scholarships. And you know, the selection process is not going to be based on you are supporting UDP or you are not supporting. The selection is going to be based on are you qualified to apply for this scholarship. And if you are qualified, we don't care whether you are NPP or GDC or if you are a Gambian, we will give you that scholarship.
So interpreting it as a scholarship fund for UDP students is wrong?
It's wrong, and it's misrepresentation.
Okay. All right, let's go back to this NPP 50 million.
Now,
50 million is a hefty fund.
50 million is a very hefty...
and it's not $50 million, it's 50 million what, dollars, is it?
No, he said they reported $50 million.
Dollars, okay.
Yes.
Okay, dollars.
Now, either way, 50 million as a unit is a lot of money. But let's just say the simple arithmetic of it. If you take that 50 million, you want to assist 20,000 NPP women to start a business. If you divide that 50 million between 20,000 NPP women, you know how much each is getting?
No.
$2,500. Can $2,500 make an impact on a woman's life in terms of creating a business?
It's a huge challenge, unless maybe somebody was, unless maybe somebody's capital was $300 and you bring it up to 2,500. That's a sea change.
Even there, by the time you reach the level of Adama Barrow, in terms of wealth, it will be a lifetime.
How many Gambians are aspiring to reach his level? Not many.
Exactly, not many. But those who aspire need to have the opportunity to get it. My bigger point is, rather than exclusively NPP, there is an act of parliament which created an enterprise fund for women. put money in it and make it open to all
Maybe there's enough
Gambians.
money in that already.
It's not.
Hundreds of millions.
No. If there are hundreds of millions, they haven't gone public with it. And these are the things that we have an issue with in terms of that 50 million. But the other injection of money, the 84 million that he calls an allowance for chiefs, alkalolu, and imams, is another injection of money, and it's an incentive for them to do what he wants them to do.
What does he want them to do?
To give attestations.
Yeah, but what's wrong with attestations? Attestations were given in Banjul.
We know attestations were given to different people in different... The question is...
In Banjul, you mean?
In Banjul, all over the country.
Wow.
Attestations were given all over the country. Don't, let's not...
But it's your party member who was giving attestations in Banjul.
Which party member?
The mayor.
Yes.
In Banjul.
But she has a committee that looks at the applications for that attestation. Now, in my area, in Nyamina East, Alkalolu were giving attestation to people from URR. You come to Kudang, the Alkalo says, no, you are not from here. He and his committee says, you are not from here. They go to the chief. The chief directs them to another Alkalo in a small village next to us, and they get their attestation. So, this is where election integrity matters. Nobody is saying don't give an attestation to a Gambian, bona fide Gambian. What we are saying is that attestation issue is opening the floodgates for lack of election integrity.
So what should happen, to this practice of election attestation? Be stopped completely or be given, to a completely different body, to take charge of?
We have a constitution that highlights how you can become a citizen of the country, isn't it? There is a constitutional proviso. Follow that constitutional proviso. It's called respect for rule of law. If you go outside of that and you give an attestation, and that attestation becomes political, it's not only illegal, it's politically not correct. This is our position. Follow the constitution. If somebody says, I am a Gambian, the constitution is very clear in its definition of what a Gambian is. Follow it and give it to them, unquestioned. But this attestation, Peter, in the 2021 election, if you recall, we filed a petition at the Supreme Court. That petition was loaded with evidence to show the kind of election malfeasance that took place in 2021. And we selected villages all over the country, not just from one area, to have a sampling of places all over the country. And you have a situation where people were being registered outside of the legal framework of registration. You have a situation where people were registered. These machines, when you register, they put the date there, the time, and the location. And all of that was in that petition, all over the country.
So it was a heavy body of evidence.
There was a heavy body of evidence
that was presented,
which our lawyers describe as, how do you call it, incontrovertible evidence. If the Supreme Court had the courage to look at that,
it was a question of courage.
No, it's not. It's not a question of courage. I said if they had the courage.
That's what I'm saying. So they lacked the courage. That's why they threw this thing out.
If they had the courage to look at that petition, it would go the way of Kenya. They would have thrown that election out.
Well, it's supposed to be an independent body. So why, would it lack courage? I mean,
get the Chief Justice or some of these judges to come here to explain that. What I'm saying is, we have incontrovertible evidence. We put it in our petition. Our petition was not heard because of a technicality. The petition wasn't heard because it lacks evidence. It wasn't heard because of a technicality.